Hi Aries, welcome to your week ahead Taroscope with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick note, these readings are for your sun, moon and ascendant sign. Whether you're a sun, moon or rising sign Aries, it's for you. Remember, they are general readings. Not everything's going to resonate with everybody. That is just fine. You should always use your own discernment. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance, and I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise. They help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So let's have a look. For your key to the week this week, you have the Tree of Life card. So this is like across my decks. If you've been with me long enough, you know this is like one of my favorite cards ever. And I do want to say, if you are a continued subby, you know Rafi loves you. And if you're new to my channel, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose and it resonates, hit the subscribe button so it helps out the channel, it helps me, and check out all of the goodies that I've got for you in the description box below. So for your Tree of Life card, basically the condensed version of this card is divine intervention and assistance. So in all of these different areas of life, there's going to be some kind of liberation, assistance, some kind of freedom. Now, the thing is, and I have to premise with this because some people are like, oh, well, what about this? There are times where divine intervention or assistance actually looks like you not getting what you want because there's something better lined up for you. Because we are human and we have that very human experience and that very human filter, it's like, oh, well, I didn't get what I want, so how is the universe working out for me, right? So, and I'll give you a really good example of this. Just recently, I took a friend of mine to purchase a new car. I picked him a really good date, like a really good chart. Like I was like, yes, this is the day. Like it's going to be a good car. The seller will be easy. They might be open to negotiation, and the car that you purchase will be really decent. Like I really went to town on picking the election for him. And on the way there, we had an issue. And when we got there, there were a few issues and it was like roadworks and all kinds of stuff. And I said to him, remember that even when it's not giving you what you want, the transit or the chart is also still working, right? So sometimes it may not necessarily look like we get exactly what I want, but that really is the best thing for us in the moment. Now, for your actions and options, you have the Queen of Swords. So this week you are fighting for something, right? In a lot of ways, this does suggest that you're carving out time or space to really have your message or your own voice heard in some way. Usually not a problem for Aries people. When you've got something to say, you let people know, but this feels a bit more targeted. It feels a bit more focused. It's like there's something specific that you have to say in like a message, and it's like, I will be heard for this, right? How everybody sees me is usually this, but this is what I want to get across right now. In terms of the actions, or should I say the options that are available to you, there is an option to right a wrong here, and it might come about sort of very synchronistically in some way. Maybe it might even be as well that you get a chance to set the record straight in some regard. All right. Now, for your communications and conversations, you've got the Star card. Isn't this just one of the most beautiful depictions of the Star card that you've ever seen? Like, just look at it, right? I've forgotten the name of this deck. I'm really sorry. I bought it it was like advertised on Instagram like 2 years ago now. I can't even remember. I'll have to look through my emails to see, but yeah, it's not like a deck that I bought that's out there. This was like it was like a however many copies of this deck left, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to have it. But just isn't it like, let's just take a moment to appreciate. All right, geek moment over. When it comes to your communications and conversations, there's going to be a lot of conversations about your future this week. The Star card is the future. Remember, it is the glimpse into the future, and it is also possible, especially with the Queen of Swords, you could be having a conversation with an Aquarius woman, but it could just as easily be that you're having a really serious conversation about your ability to utilize technology. Maybe you're looking into a website of some sort or some way of getting a message out there that has a that has a technological slant to it. Now, when it comes to your Oh, come on, brain. When it comes to those of you that are studying or in some form of academia, it may very well. I'm just going to say, I don't want to put this out there for you, but this is really, really important information. Please, 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 this week, back up your hard drives, especially for those of you that are students. Whatever work you are working on, please back it up. Please send yourself an email copy of whatever it is. There is a possibility here that you may end up needing to submit a piece of work late because something happens with your tech. All right, so this is something that all throughout any study that I ever did do, I used to email myself copies of where I was up to at a certain point, because I had this issue once where I'd written up a whole essay, forgotten to save it, and I lost the whole damn thing. And I thought, no way, that's never going to happen to me again. For those of you that are employed by somebody else, there are some serious considerations about the prospects of your future and your ability to tighten up. It might even be that your employer is starting to tighten up their online or their digital security. For those of you that are business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, people that work for themselves, if you have and use any form of tech, where there is information, data, etc., which basically is every job nowadays, my advice would be, if you have your own business, get on top of your digital protection now. All right. It's not to say that you've got an issue this week, but it might be a scare, and it might be enough to kind of put the shit of God up you and kind of say, listen, you know what, I better get this sorted just in case I ever do have a problem. That's it's not a very good term, I apologise, but you can tell I'm common as muck. For what we used to say is the fear of God in front of our parents. Then for those of you that are retired and no longer working, again, there's future conversations here, but there's something that I feel like for a lot of you, there's something that needs to be said. There's some conversation that needs to be had that could be very healing or very cathartic. For your then you've got the Queen of Wands, right? So in some way, shape or form, an archetype of you shows up. For those of you that are single and looking, two queens represent sincere friends. So this suggests that within your friendship circle, a friend, a colleague, somebody could try to set you up this week. Or it's even possible that for a select few of you, a friend or someone that is a colleague or, an acquaintance comes forward and says, look, do you want to go for coffee? Like, there might be an invite of some sort there. Now, when it comes to those of you that are partnered, married, or in long-term commitments, or maybe even having a flirtation of a commitment at the moment, this bodes really well. And I actually think this person is very likely to shock you in some way, shape, or form. They might kind of suggest something where you're like, okay, I thought it was a bit too quick for this, but hey, listen, I'm game, right? For those of you that are, when it comes to your money and materials, you've got the Queen of Cups, right? So this is a slightly different message. Three queens can represent deception by women. And so I just want to say, when it comes to money, finances, and resources, do keep your wits about you for any form of emotional manipulation this week, right? There might be a conversation that's had around money and finances where you realise something is actually quite manipulative and you're going to call it out. Now, the other thing with the Queen of Cups, that it does suggest that maybe the emotional manipulation is like somebody wants you to do something or to pay for something or to buy something, and rather than just kind of ask you outright, which is the best way to go with an Aries, if you're cross-watching, they like it direct, right? All of that beating around the bush stuff is not for them. I'm not trying to speak for all of you, but that's what I've observed anyway. So yes, when it comes to financial matters and emotional manipulation games and all of that, watch out for that this week. When it comes to your physical health and vitality, the Queen of Cups tends to be the stomach, with the Star card here as well. I do want to say this week, touch wood, I'm not a doctor, I can't give you medical advice, this is not a diagnosis, but I will say, if you find that you're struggling this week with your lungs, etc., it may very well be good to go and get yourself checked out with the doctor. I'm not saying this is a full-on infection, but there's something here where your lungs they're struggling here somewhere. So I just want you to, just to keep an eye on it. I could be wrong, And at worst, you've lost some time. At best, you've caught something early. When it comes to your home and environment, the Queen of Cups tends to show up as like, it's an archetypal energy for home. It's very good for home. And with the Tree of Life card, there could be a development on the home front that really, in some way, shape or form, actually makes you feel that much more secure. It's like home really does feel like the haven that it's supposed to be. All right. So with that said, if you want to book your personal tarot reading with me, you can do so on the link in the description box below. With that said, take care, and I'll see you soon.